This video is about social rules. Understanding your own individual social rules. I feel like I've had very specific social rules for myself, like how I engage in and operate with people. Which I just made a video. You can check it out about people's manipulation tactics. But anyway, sorry, I have hair in my mouth. So, yeah, I just want to talk about social rules. I think, again, it's going along with manipulation, but I think, in my experiences dealing with certain people who are trying to, manipulate me, because I'm very flexible. I'm a very flexible person. But I realized that, people do manipulate that. People do try to manipulate that to get whatever they want from you. So if you're not firm within yourself, you will you will end up being manipulated, essentially. So anyway, yeah. So basically, among my experiences dealing with some manipulative people, I kept adjusting my boundaries, and I kept thinking, oh well, should I change how I feel? Should I change how I feel? Should I change what I need in relationships, in friendships, etc.? Should I adjust here, adjust there to meet their needs? And that's just not. Don't do that. Don't do that. It doesn't make sense. How can you change what you feel? How can you change what you need? Especially when it keeps showing up in the same ways that it did. Okay, that's important to understand. It's important to understand who you are and what your social rules are. So, anyway, I'm coming to this conclusion today that no, there was never a time that I needed to adjust my social rules for myself, like how I engage with people, how I interact with people. There was never a time that I needed to do that. It was only me doing that to please other people. So today I understand that it's okay to have social rules. I think it's important to have social rules because you, for yourself, the more you project this expectation on other people, the more that you will, suffer, I'll say. But you can still hold your social rules and also hold your friends to a kind of a standard of that, more of as a protective boundary. It's not a, you need to do this or I will, it's not a tactic of control, but it's a tactic of understanding what you need and understanding that you're getting what you need out of the way you spend your energy, the way you spend your time, the way you interact with other people. So I think also having social rules for yourself, it also is good because they can only come from an understanding of who you are. There's a certain level of self-awareness that they require. There's a certain level of you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself to say, this is how I move through the world. This is how I want to be treated. And there are so many people in the world, okay? Oh, I was gonna say this in my last video and I didn't. Dang it. This was a good point. Is that I don't have any just because you're my friend or you're my family does not mean that you have an obligation to control me. Doesn't mean I'm obligated to be controlled by you. But I do recognize that I have a certain obligation towards the humanity as a whole. We can call it that. And it doesn't mean to me it comes through me becoming my best self and to operate as my best self in the world. It comes as that. It comes through that. And I don't know always where it's going to land. I don't know always who's going to be affected by it. I can't make one individual be affected by it. But I know that it will always land somewhere. Somebody who needs to hear it always will hear it, always will see it, always will feel inspired by it. It's just somebody. And it seems to be like a lot of times it's like different people. This person here, this person there, this person here, this person there. Um, you know? So I do I do see that I have an obligation to humanity, but it comes through me refining myself. It comes about how I show up in the world. And that's my obligation. But as far as like individuals, especially when they're trying to manipulate and control me, I don't see that I have an obligation to these people because that's not how I operate. And, we can philosophize about this. Like, there's a lot of perspectives. Sometimes you do have to move your social rules. But if you do it continually and repeatedly, and you still see an outcome that is you self-sacrificing over and over again, like you're doing like no, you're not supposed to self-sacrifice. You only came here to be yourself. It takes more courage sometimes to be yourself, but that doesn't mean you should sacrifice yourself because it's scary or it's hard. Okay. So, yeah. Social rules. Now, it's like a rule. Like, a rule is it's a guideline, it's a standard. You know. I don't think about these things in like rigid terms because with humans we're always learning. We are always learning. You experience a new person and a new situation, something you never experienced before. You have to understand how to navigate through it. But I think that's where the social guidelines come in because they can help you say like this is a value that I have. Like I value the individual. That's for me, right? That's why I don't try to control people. In the past, it's been hard for me to really, it's, I don't know. Part of that comes with like how fucked up I was. All the conditioning that came into my mind as a youth and like what I expected of men specifically. Yeah, that's another topic. But yeah, I value individuality, so like that means I don't want people to try to change what I feel is best for me to do because I'm the only person who can receive guidance for my own life. People can give you a good advice, people can share their perspective with you, but at the end of the day, you have to make your own decision. And I value that in my own life. I value my ability to make my own decision. So when people come in and try to change the decision or try to force me to make a certain decision, like maybe it's out of the projection of their own fear, maybe it's access to energy, all these things. If somebody comes in like that, then that's a problem for me because only I can make my choice. Now we have to deal with this like banter and this like back and forth because you're trying to tell me what I have to do when maybe I feel I have to do it differently. So that's just something I value, and that's something I take into my relationships. I'm not gonna try to control your outcome. I can't control your outcome. So that's just an example, and I do think that these things are very good, and they're guidelines that can help us through our navigations with other people. And yeah, if you feel like you have to be a certain way to be a good friend, like if you have those ideas that came from somebody else, not you, you gotta reassess. Like, reassess what that means for you. Reassess who the fuck you are. Reassess it. There's so many, like, obligatory uh, mentalities that we carry. Like, oh, I have to be this way to be a good friend. Oh, I'm not a good friend. Or, oh, you're not a good friend because you didn't let me control you, essentially. Yeah, anyway, that's just what... that's just what I'm observing in my life. So, anyway, blessings, y'all. Hope this made sense and hope it helped. Talk to you next time.